So we got a whole bunch of questions. You know, you talk about weight and the sparks fly. So first question was, you know, right from Dr. Benjamin's talk here, should you be adding joy to those 4 factors? I mean, those 4 factors just had no room for joy.
Actually, yes, definitively. We've seen this over and over again with our members, that you cannot browbeat people into this. What we see over and over again is that people who have long-term success with the behavior change effort have a combination of both a sense of urgency, but also a sense and personal belief that they can do this. Optimism works far more effectively in encouraging someone through a behavior change process.
So we all know what gets measured gets done.
Yep.
Right? We're from a science community, we know, A, B, look at the measurement and you can pretty much see it. The scale, this 150-year-old device, is the primary measuring tool for 300 million Americans. Right? It's measuring my weight. What's with that?
You know, there is no perfect indicator. You know, we could measure waist circumference. We could try to measure body fat. That's fairly imprecise. What you're looking for is very simple tools that you can try to generalize across a population that gets you in the right ballpark. And in fact, so there's a group called the National Weight Control Registry, which tracks people who have successfully dealt with a weight issue for a very extended period of time, 10 years plus. Virtually everybody in their panel who's had success, and it's tens of thousands, they do in fact weigh themselves every week. It is their feedback mechanism. And what they find is that those people, when their weight goes up by 5 pounds, they spring into action and start making changes. I'm not arguing for obsessing about weight, but I am arguing that it is still probably the most useful metric we have. BMI is not a perfect measure by any vague stretch of the imagination, but we really haven't come up with one yet that does a better job in a population generalizable way.
David, you said something that was very much worth repeating. You said the government got it right this time. Okay?
They did.
They got it right this time. All right? You know, we don't hear that when it happens. It's a bit like Juan saying we don't ever hear about the FDA getting it right. We only get called up in Congress when we get it wrong. You know, that's quite an accomplishment. How do they get it right?
You know, I think what my observation of the dietary guidelines this go-around is they did a much better job in keeping people out of the process. And they really, and what they desperately wanted to do is the pyramid had just gotten turned into this just godforsaken Frankenstein of a diagram. If any of you have ever seen it, it had like 12 dimensions that nobody could ever possibly hope to understand. They said, well, what would be something that was a lot less simple that just communicated a very simple basic message? What about a plate?
What about a plate? So that's good news. Last question I had here was, you know, you said 2050, 1 out of 3 diabetic. You know, every time I hear 2050, I think that that's like the year 2700. So I just did the quick math. That's 39 years from now. 39 years ago, that's 1962. So for those of us that can remember 1962, doesn't seem so long ago, 2050 is coming pretty fast. I'm glad you're out there ringing the bell. We appreciate it with us. Thank you.